Hey there, today we're going to be installing this left side phone mount for the Rivian R1S and R1T. Super handy product, and what I like most about it is it's hard mounted into the dash, so very firm fit, and with the MagSafe compatible charger, we can get charging while we're going down the road. It's a very easy installation. Probably the hardest thing is accessing the fuse panel underneath, but don't worry, we include the Torx bit you're going to need for accessing there and for mounting the phone. The only other tool you need to bring is a 13mm socket. So let's jump right into it. Here's the screw that we're looking for. It's located just behind the OBD2 port. It's only screwed down here, and it holds this plastic panel on with the light in. Now, before we take this off, you're going to want to grab the Torx bit that's included in the kit, insert it in a bit driver, and make sure you've got good light under here. It's a dark area, so grab some good light so you can see what you're doing. And I needed to move the seat back a little bit to make sure I've got good access to the area. So first thing we'll do is loosen this screw. Set that to the side, and then after that, this panel is just going to pop right down. Just plastic clips holding in place, so you just pull straight down. Be careful though, we do have the light and the OBD2 port holding the panel in place, so we've kind of flip it down and set it to the back. We'll be able to get to the fuse panel, which is where we're trying to access. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is find the fuse that we're going to pull out and replace. So if you look right here, there's a row of fuses, a 10, a 5, and then 2 more 10s. We're going to pull this sort of middle 10, the 10 that is next to the 5 right here. So if you take your fuse removal tool that's included in the kit, probably gonna have to get on your back, reach right up here, pull that number 10 out, and take that 10, put it in the open slot on the fuse tap from the kit. Next, plug the fuse tap into the longer wiring harness that will route up to the phone mount and cover the connection with the insulation. Then take your fuse tap and we're going to run it right back into the slot that we just pulled the fuse out from. I'm going to have the wire pointing towards the outside, so if I'm in the driver's seat looking forward, my wire is going to go to the left side. And basically, I just want to start routing it up behind the trim panel. Okay, next, locate the stud. It's just down from the fuse block, which was up here. So this stud we're going to use as our grounding point, where we'll connect the black wire with the round eyelet to this location. So taking a 13mm socket, a deep well will work best. I'm going to back this stud off. Insert the eyelet over the stud and put the nut right back on. And finally snug the nut back down. Okay, with the 2 wires connected underneath, we're now going to come back to the door jamb area on the side here, and we're going to be removing this panel so that we can route the wires up behind the dash in a hidden location. So take the trim removal tool that's included in the kit and basically just insert it here in the edge, kind of pry it back, and then as soon as you can get your fingers on there, all you need to do is kind of pop this guy out. And we're just trying to get access to this area back here. So, take the wires from underneath, you can kind of route them up, pinch them between the body or the trim lines there. And what we're going to use actually is this kind of cavity to store the module and the extra wiring. So all this is just going to get set in here, and then we'll take the USB-C end of the wire. And this is going to run up and you just kind of take your time, push the trim pieces out of the way. And what you can kind of do is hold one end of the wire here and pull the other end to kind of pop it back behind. Next, we're going to pry this leather piece up, the dash pad. So same thing with the trim removal tool, kind of pop it under here, pry it up. As soon as you can get your finger underneath, I like to use my hands. And I'm just going to keep routing this wire underneath this tab. As soon as it's hidden, we want about this much sticking out. We can adjust that later. But that's all the farther we have to go with the wire. So tidy up under here. Probably zip tie this together, these extra wires, so they're not floating down. And then we just close it up in this trim panel. Okay, I decided to grab a zip tie. Just gonna make sure all these cables are bunched together. I don't want them dropping down in my footwell. So just kind of wrapping them together. Don't want to zip tie around. And that'll just keep them steady and in this area here. So I can close this little trim panel up now. All we got to do is align those plastic tabs, push in. That piece is good to go. So grabbing our actual phone mount parts now. Last thing we need to do is install this phone mount on the dash. So I'm going to take the T25 bit that we used earlier, and we've already got this dash pried up a little bit. What we're looking for is this screw right under here. So taking our bit, what I want to do is get in here and back this screw out. Now I don't want to take it all the way out. I want to risk dropping it into the dash. I'm just going to back it back maybe 3 or 4 turns here. Just enough so that I can take my phone mount, get the slot looped underneath that screw, hold the mount all the way to the left-hand side, and come back in here with my bit driver and tighten that screw right back up. Again, holding the mount to the left-hand side the whole time. And just snug it down. We don't have to go real tight on this. Okay, after that, take our MagSafe mount, pop it right on this ball stud. And there's a little collar on the backhand side. We're just gonna tighten that down. So this piece, tighten it down, just snug, enough to allow us to still rotate and find the angle we want with the MagSafe mount. And lastly, take our USB-C that we routed earlier. We're gonna plug it right into the port on the bottom. See, it's already powering up, good to go. So kind of get our wire routed back how we want, nice and tight. Push this trim panel back down, just a little pop, and we're good to go. Okay, so we're looking really good. I've got my trim panels reinstalled, including the one underneath. Put the one screw back in to hold that one in place. Let's give this thing a try. Okay, awesome. It's charging. It's now in a much more visible location. If I'm using the maps, for instance, I really like where it's located here on the left-hand side, much better than the cup holder I was using beforehand. I can adjust it, put it whatever angle kind of best suits my needs, but I really like where it is in my line of sight, off to the side, but I can quickly glance down, check my maps, or do whatever I need to do. So I think we're gonna really enjoy this. Okay, so there we go, all installed and set. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Check us out for more Rivian accessories and how-to installs.